The other defining moment was in early April 2006 when I learned that the president had secretly declassified the National Intelligence Estimate on Iraq for the Vice President and Scooter Libby to anonymously disclose to reporters. And we had been out there talking about how seriously the president took the selective leaking of classified information, and here we were learning that the president had authorized the very same thing we had criticized.
That was former White House Press Secretary Scott McClellan responding for the first time about the allegations he made in his blockbuster White House memoir. Conservatives have come out in full force to denounce the controversial new book, which takes shots at the president and many in his inner circle. With us now, former Clinton advisor Dick Morris. And by the way, you can get Dick's columns and newsletters for free by logging on to dickmorris.com. Dick, a lot of Americans have evolved over the last couple of...
Can you give me a crack at the Reverend before we get on to Scott?
If you'd like to have one.
Okay. Look, my wife and I have been writing for months now that Hillary Clinton does indeed feel a sense of entitlement. This nomination is hers. It is rightfully hers. She's waited for it for 8 years. She's been married to the president. She's ready for it, which is the phrase she used in the campaign. She's entitled to it. And there is undoubtedly a sense of shock and denouement at this guy coming to take it away. Now, that is not obviously primarily fueled by race. It's fueled by her role in the establishment, her money raising,
all right, Dick, we're going to talk more about
polls,
the Reverend in the next segment.
But also by the feeling that a black candidate probably couldn't beat her.
All right,
and to that extent, there is an entitlement there.
All right, Dick, we're going to talk more about that in the next segment. I want to get to the McClellan issue.
Okay.
Sure. A lot of Americans have evolved over the last couple of years to feel, and many of you even supported the Bush administration, that they were somehow misled, hoodwinked. There's not the love that used to be there for the administration among many Americans, even conservatives. So how is Scott McClellan any different, other than the fact they worked for him, as did others who have fallen by the wayside?
Well, I think this is a book by somebody that didn't know very much, that doesn't say very much. Start with he didn't know very much. Press secretaries are way overrated in the extent to which they're assumed to have access to the president. They're the hired help. In the Bush administration, you had the national security people, then you had Rove and the political people, and then you had McClellan and the communications people. And I don't think he knows very much about what went on. And in terms of the book, what does it say? It says that Bush used propaganda to sell the Iraq war. Well, the Gettysburg Address was to sell the Civil War. It's what presidents do. It says that there was conspiring on the Valerie Plame affair. The attorney that led the investigation has concluded that other than a cover-up by a witness, there was no crime committed because the person that leaked the information didn't know that she was doing covert activity. So when you get down to it, what is there in this book that's important? The thing that is important about this book, and vitally important about it, is it shows that the left-wing news machine, Media Matters, MoveOn, is going to manufacture scandal and media and become a dominant player in this campaign, which it's never been before.
Hey, Dick, welcome back to the program. I have a couple of quotes from, and we appreciate you being with us, from Scott McClellan. When he left the administration, interesting, he said the day he retired, and Catherine Lopez found this on National Review, I have been honored and grateful to be a small part of a terrific and talented team of really good people. And, for example, when Richard Clarke's book came out and Paul O'Neill's book came out, in the case of Clarke, he said, well, why all of a sudden, if he had all these grave concerns, did he not raise these sooner? This is 1.5 years after he left the administration, and all of a sudden he's raising these grave concerns, concerns that he claims he had. And I think you have to look at some of the facts. One, he's bringing it in the heat of a presidential campaign. He's written a book, and he certainly wants to go out there and promote that book. In other words, isn't this obvious what he's doing? If he really felt this way, wouldn't he have left at the time when he thought Bush was dishonest about drugs when he was running for governor?
Sean, there's nothing there. There's nothing in the book.
Good point.
The Bush administration is crazy for the defense that it's mounting. What people are getting is the impression that, oh, there's this book written by this top-level aide, and the Bush people are furious, and all these revelations. You look at the thing, there's nothing in it.
Well,
You're going to tell me that it's a shock that Bush neglected Katrina? It's a shock that they were worried about Valerie Plame? It's a shock that they tried to sell the Iraq war to the people?
But let's talk about tell-all books. in general here. And for example, Bob Dole wrote a letter to Scott McClellan, and it starts out this way. Scott, there are miserable creatures like you in every administration, he goes on, who don't have the guts to speak up or quit if there are disagreements with his boss or colleagues. No, your type soaks up the benefits of power, revels in the limelight for years, then quits and, spurred on by greed, cashes in with a scathing critique. Is that true? Anybody, if you really have problems, he should have left.
It's nice that they're on a first-name basis. Look, I think that, yeah, probably should have left. But I want to make a different point. That's a more important point, I think. This is cooked up by the liberal media.
I agree.
They took a book that's basically benign, and they made it venomous because they want to have an equivalent of Richard Clarke's book in 2008. But when you open the pages and you read the stuff, there's nothing there.
All right.
This is all hype.
The media
Dick, stay right there. We're going to have more with Dick Morris coming up right after the break. Plus, the Hannity and Combs. If you missed it last night, the big map is back. And by the way, things are changing since last night. That's coming up. Don't miss it.